Here, today we'll find out what kind of reactions that are usually asked, right? Which are only acid-based case. So which means if in case if there is any acid-base cases, right? In case if there is any acid-base reactions, how do we analyze? Now, see this. Suppose if we have phenol, right? And phenol is supposed to react with all of these cases. How do we need to check? We consider phenol as acidic compound first and start making the reaction, which means this will lose H plus, and from here OH minus will grab that H plus and becomes H2O. So the product which we are expecting is phenoxide ion here, O minus, Na plus H2O. Whether this reaction will proceed forward or not will be depending upon what are their pK values. pK values is approximately 10 here, while pK value of water is around 15.5. Yesterday we learned that a reaction is more favorable in the forward direction if it is starting from low pK value towards high pK value. So yes, this reaction is definitely feasible and the reaction will be more in the forward direction. NH2 minus is a base which will extract proton from here, and we are expecting phenoxide ion to form O minus, Na plus NH3. Same thing if you see the pK value of ammonia. pK value of ammonia is around 38. So yes, this reaction will also favor in the forward direction. So first I'll write all the products and then we'll see based upon the pK values whether the reaction is favorable in the forward direction or not. Okay, students. So next reaction, if you check out, it is phenoxide ion O minus K plus H2. Next reaction, O minus Li plus BuH, which means butane. Next reaction, phenoxide ion with lithium plus CH4. Next reaction, O minus Na plus H2O or H2CO3. Next reaction, O minus Na plus NaHCO3. Right. Now let us see whether which of these reactions are actually feasible depending upon the pK value of the product. So if you see the pK value here for H2, it is also around 38. Alkanes, this is butane. Butane would be around 50, in fact more than 50. pK value of methane is around 48. pK value of H2CO3 is around 6.3 to 6.5. pK value of NaCO3 is around 11.3 to 12. Got it? Now if you observe which of these are feasible reactions, everybody. First one is definitely feasible, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. Correct? Next one, this is not feasible.
No, sir.
Got it? So which means you got to understand that phenols do not get dissolved in sodium bicarbonate. This is one way of understanding. Second thing, phenols do not give bicarbonate test. Bicarbonate test means when you react with bicarbonate, if it gives H2CO3. See, H2CO3 is nothing but H2O plus CO2. In fact, in aqueous solution, it would always exist in the form of H2 and CO2. So there would be quite a sufficient amount of dissolved carbon dioxide. So when you add this, so some amount of carbon dioxide will evolve out in case if the reaction is happening. Here the reaction is not happening. So we say phenols do not give positive bicarbonate test. Everybody understood that point? Right. So it will not give positive bicarbonate test. But what about now? Same thing, phenols, if you react with carbonate, it will favor. Understood? So it will give positive carbonate test, but it will not give positive bicarbonate test. Is this point clear, everybody? Right? See the next reactions here. In case if the phenol is treated with RCOO minus, what is the product which you are expecting? So we will get phenoxide O minus uh, O minus plus RCOOH. This is what we are expecting. Same way here also we are expecting O minus plus CH3OH. Here we are expecting O minus Na plus HC triple bond CH. Here O minus plus CH3SO3H. Now again let us check out the pK values. Carboxylic acid pK value ranges between 4 to 5. So I'll just write it as 4.5. pK value of methanol, right? Methanol, if you recall, it is slightly exceptional. It would have less amount of pK value than water. Then pK value of acetylene is approximately around 25. pK value of benzene is around 44. pK value of sulfonic acid is around 1. In fact, less than 1, right? Sorry, not 1, minus 6. Yeah. Okay. So now if you observe which of these reactions are feasible, guys, first reaction definitely not feasible, which means phenols do not give a positive carboxylate test, which means it does not give a carboxylate molecule easily. Next, pH, if you check out with the next reaction, is it feasible? Yes, this is feasible. Okay, because it is giving a pK value which is less than the phenol, sorry, more than the phenol. Next, HC triple bond H, this reaction is also feasible. Next reaction is also feasible. After that, this is not feasible. So I hope all of you understood this point. Okay, make a note, everyone. Now in this case, if you see acetylene when you treat with NaOH, first we'll write the expected product and we'll see whether it is feasible or not. What we are expecting is that CH3 C triple bond C minus is formed, Na plus H2O is formed here. Next, CH3 C triple bond C minus Na plus NH3 is formed. CH3 C triple bond C minus K plus H2 is formed. CH3 C triple bond C minus Li plus BuH, butane is formed. CH3 C triple bond C minus Li plus methane is formed. CH3 C triple bond C minus Na plus H2CO3 is formed. CH3 C triple bond C minus Na plus NaHCO3 is formed. Okay. So we know the pK values. So based on that, let us analyze that. pK value of water is around 15. Now if we check out the pK value of acetylene, this is around 25. Acetylene or any triple bond form is the range of 25. Now from 25, would it come to 15 here? No. So there won't be any reaction with OH minus. Next, NaNH2 sodamide solution. So if we take sodamide solution, now if you see NH3 pK value is 38. So yes, this reaction will definitely happen. Next, H2 reaction is also 38. H2 pK value is 38. It will happen. Butane is around 50. Methane is 48. H2CO3, this is around 6.5. So this reaction don't happen. NaHCO3 11.3 or 11.5, even this reaction don't happen. So which means students understand that triple bonded hydrogen, it won't be dissolving in NaOH, neither it will be dissolving in Na2CO3. So do not give any positive test with NaHCO3, neither it will give any positive test with Na2CO3. Here also we can see CH3 C triple bond C minus plus RCOOH is what we are expecting. CH3 C triple bond C minus plus CH3OH is what we are expecting. CH3 C triple bond C minus Na plus PHOH, phenol is what we are expecting. CH3C triple bond C minus MgBr plus pH. CH3C triple bond C minus plus CH3 SO3H is what we are expecting. Again, check out the pK values here. This is around 4 to 5, so this reaction won't happen. CH3OH, this is around 15.3, even this reaction won't happen. Phenols are around 10, even this reaction won't take place. Next, benzene formation. Benzene is around 44, yes, which means this reaction will take place. Last one, sulfonic acids are around minus 6.5, so this reaction is definitely not going to happen. Done. Next, see the next question. These are all about bicarbonate test. So if we take PHCOOH, suppose if this carbon is isotopic and it is around, this is of carbon 14. In that case, the product what we are expecting is PHCOO minus Na plus H2O plus CO2. This is with carbon 14. So when you calculate the molar mass here, you will get it as 46 grams. 46 grams per mole. And if you see the pK value of PHCOOH, the pK value of this is around 4.3, right? And water is around 15.5. So this reaction is definitely feasible more in the forward direction. And we can expect that, sorry, not water, H2CO3 pK value is around 6.5. So definitely we can expect this reaction to happen in the forward direction. And yes, carbon dioxide is evolved here. And carbon dioxide which evolves will come as 46 gram per mole because it is an isotopic carbon 14. Next, if you see the next point, PHCOOH plus NaHCO3, if you check that, so we will have PHCO minus Na plus H2O plus CO2. This time the carbon dioxide which is coming will have 44 grams per mole. This is a regular carbon. PHSO3H, if you check out what would we get, we'll get this as PHSO3 minus Na plus. This will also give positive bicarbonate test. And we will get this as H2O plus CO2. Please make sure you understand that SO2 gas is not the one which is evolved here. It is a carbon dioxide gas which is evolved. Now let us see the next question. Always remember this before going with the question. This is an important note. That a substance to be soluble in NaOH, its pK should be less than 15.5. And if a substance need to be soluble in NaHCO3, its pK must be less than 6.3. Got it? Then and only then we can expect that they will be dissolved in NaOH. Question was given like this. This was a JEE question, JEE advanced question, where he said a binary mixture is been once treated with NaOH and once treated with NaHCO3. And I'm able to separate both of them by NaOH. I'm able to separate both of them by NaHCO3. Right? So which means one of these has to be insoluble and one should be soluble. Same way here also one should be insoluble and one should be soluble here. So these were the options given. Which of the following mixture can be separated in both NaOH and NaHCO3? Okay. Now check this out. First, PHCOH. First I'll write the approximate pK values. pK value of this is around 10. Benzoic acid is around 4.3. pK value of this is a simple methane. This is simple alcohol. Simple alcohol is around 20. This is around 4.3. This is phenol, which is 10. And this is an acid, which will be around 4.5. This is alcohol, simple alcohol, around 20. This is an acid, around 4.5. Okay. Now suppose if I take this mixture, PHOH and PHCOOH, and if you pass that to NaOH, even this will dissolve and this will dissolve because both of them will have pKa less than 15.5. So can we separate using NaOH? No, we cannot separate this using NaOH. Can we separate using NaHCO3? Yes, we can. because PHOH won't get dissolved, but PHCOOH will get completely dissolved here in NaHCO3. So, but the question asked is both, in both NaOH and NaHCO3, both will be able to separate each other. So here it is only been able to separate in NaHCO3, not in NaOH. So this is an incorrect answer. Check out here, PHCH2OH and PHCOOH. This is 20 and 4.3, which means when you pass it through NaOH, this won't get dissolved, but this will get dissolved. So we got separated. If you pass that to NaCO3, this won't get dissolved and this will get dissolved. So yes, which means with both NaOH and NaCO3, we are able to separate these solutions. Next, see this point, 10 and 4.5, which is similar to this one. It is similar to case A. So C cannot be separated. D, which is similar to B. So yes, this can be separated. So these two are the options, correct options in that question. So these type of questions are expected in JEE Advanced. This pK value is 20, this is 4.3. So when you add it to NaOH, since both of them have pK, one of them has pK less than 15.4, only this get dissolved and this won't get dissolved. So it is like compound 1, which will be a filtrate, compound 2 will be a precipitate. Same with NaCO3, when you add these two, this won't get dissolved, this will get dissolved because you have to have pKa less than 6.3. So pKa less than 6.3 is this one, so this will be compound 1 and this will be compound 2. So both get separated out. The same logic, apply that for D. If this was also a JEE Advanced question. Now this is the molecule given and he said that 3 moles of NaNH2 is being reacted. What is the product? You can write an approximate pK values first. It is a benzoic acid. Benzoic acid is around 4.3. This is a phenolic case. It is around 10. This is also phenol with NO2 group which is pulling. So maybe slightly less than 10. Okay. C triple bond CH. This is approximately around 25. Which is most acidic? This one is most acidic. So that is the first one which will react. Next most acidic is this one. This will react. Next most acidic is this one. This will react. So 3 moles will be consumed here. So the product which it will form, after the reaction is done, the product which it will form is all of this here. You can see this H plus will be lost. So we will get this as O minus here, O minus here, O minus here. But this won't get disturbed. So this will be the final product. Here we'll always talk base in terms of ability to donate lone pair. So that is tendency to donate lone pair of electrons. Keep writing with me. Suppose if this is a base and there is something like H3O plus, it will accept the proton, right, and gets a positive charge on it and becomes H2O. This is the way it will be. Clear? Now, since it is accepting a proton, it is becoming a conjugate acid. So I can define Kb for this reaction. So Kb defines, the value of Kb defines what is the strength of this reaction. So if Kb value is more the reaction will be favored in the forward direction. So more is the basic nature. So I can say that high Kb value implies more basic strength of B. Now the other way of looking at is, suppose if this is a I think I already told you about how we relate pK and pKb of the conjugate acids and bases. Suppose if Kb value is high, so I can say that pKb value should be low, right? And basic strength, if you assume, that will be high, right? So for high basic strength, either the Kb value should be high or pKb value should be low. This is with respect to Kb. Can we write in terms of Ka only? We know that for a conjugate acid and base, pKa plus its respective conjugate base will be equal to pKw, right? So which is 14. Which means imagine if pKb value is very low, the pKa value will be high, right? So for example, if this is 1, this has to be 13, right? So pKb value is very low. If this value is very low, which means highly basic. If this is highly basic, the pK value should be high, right? Same way, suppose if pKb value is 5, this has to be 9. So which means you can observe as the pKb value increases, pKa value decreases, which means its basic strength will decrease. So we can always relate this with pKa value also of conjugate base. So I can write that as pKa of BH, right? BH plus, correct? If this is high, I can say it is highly basic, high base. If pKa value of BH is low, then this is low basic in nature. Everyone, is that clear? Since we have been talking acidic character all through with pKa values, so we are making pK as a single scale for both acids and bases. Okay, students? So we can use this as pKa is used as single scale for both. If it is for acids, we check out for lower pK value for more strength. For bases, we will check out higher pK value of the conjugate base. Here when I write pK, right, so you can see for bases it is pK value. When I'm taking it as higher, that means it is for more strength. Here this is more strength of acid, this is more strength of base. Now suppose if you are checking out lone pair ability, got it? For example, if you take B plus H3O plus is giving BH plus H2O. This is how it is. If you recall, if we see with respect to this base, how easily it can give the electrons, that is called kinetically basicity or kinetic basicity. It is kinetic. So it is kinetic basicity. If you see with respect to the pKa value of BH, we call it as thermodynamic. Now, what are all the terms we should search for when you are looking for kinetic basicity? Which means lone pair availability. Which one will have more lone pair available or not? So for that cases, first we will check out these all cases one by one. First, aromaticity. If the lone pair is involved in aromatic ring, it won't be available, so it will be less basic. Same way, simple resonance. Same way, percentage S character. If percentage S character is more, basicity is less. Okay. Same way we can check plus I, plus M, minus M. We can check out SIR effects. These are the main cases which we will check. On the basis of these we will discuss whether they will be more acidic or more basic. More basic or less basic. Okay, students, make a note of it. Kinetic basicity we always check out with respect to the availability of lone pair. Okay, how easily available, how difficult lone pair is available. Thermodynamic stability is on the basis of the stability of BH. Stability of BH depends upon their pK value, right beta? Higher the pK value, less will be stable. Now let us start first with resonance. We'll take few cases of resonance. First, imagine if you have only NH2, this is localized, while NH2 in aniline, this is delocalized. Okay, I'll call it as localized and delocalized. Which is to be more preferred? Where is lone pair more available here? Here the lone pair is available. Here the lone pair is less available because the same lone pair will be involved in resonance as well. Clear? So which is more basic? NH2 with local electrons are more basic. Focus everyone, make sure that you understand every case properly. So always give more priority to the localized electrons for more basic character. Second one, again we are checking out for basic strength here. Suppose we have NH2 here, CH3, CH2, NH2, and then we have CH3, C double bond O, NH2, right? So same question, same problem here also. This is localized, this is delocalized, correct? So localized and delocalized, correct? So this one, A greater than B, this is how the basic strength would be. This is the amide. Now if you check out, if amide is on both the sides, if lone pair, it is like a diamide, it is called as imide. Imide, E-M-I-D-E. So this is an imide family. In imide family, if you consider that with even any of this lone pair also, CH3, C double bond O, NH2, right? And if you compare that with NH2 here, got it? Now if you see the basic character of these three, this is how the basic character would be. This is the basic strength. Yes. Right. Got it? Here resonance is on both the sides. In fact, it is so much less basic that it is almost acidic beta. So we can say it is sufficiently acidic. Sufficiently acidic. So instead of actually donating the lone pair, it would give away H plus and act like a acid. So remember, this is not taken as base, it is regarded as acid. Here the lone pair involvement is with the double bond O, right? C double bond O, oxygen getting negative charge, that is a very rapid resonance. In fact, this resonance is so stable that nitrogen gets complete sp2. We have discussed this before. And it will remain planar. Remember that beta? So its hybridization completely turns from being sp3 to sp2. Here it is partial sp2 and partial sp3. Yes, beta. Even for the acidics also it is the same thing. Less basic, less acidic means it is more stable. More acidic means it is less stable. Same logic applies here also. Okay. Right. Suppose if you have NH2 with NO2 present here, got it? And see the same way for para and meta here. Suppose we have NO2 at meta and NO2 at para. Now we have to check out how is its basic strength. Now we can see that, correct. So minus I effect here in NO2, you will observe it has both minus I as well as minus M. Here we have only minus I. In para we have minus I as well as minus M. And minus I at ortho position would be more compared to that of minus I at para. So what should be the answer here? A should be the more basic group, then C, then D and B. ACDB. Right, beta. Good. Note that. Come to the next one. If you take 2,6-dinitro-aniline, 2,6-dinitro-aniline, it is insoluble. It is insoluble in any aqueous acid like CH3COOH, aqueous acetic acid. Normally it is basic. If when it comes to any form of aniline, we assume they are basic and they should be dissolved in any acid. But this particular base which we are taking, which is 2,6-dinitro-aniline, it is found to be insoluble in aqueous acid. Let us try to understand the reason behind it. See, when you have NH2, right, and it is connected with NO2 and 2 position and 6 position here, we'll have N, right, with H and H here, N with O, double bond O, N with O, double bond O. So you can see it will showcase this hydrogen bonding between oxygen and hydrogen here. So it will make a 6-member chelation, and because of which, see, if the chelation is happening on the same plane, can I say this entire nitrogen is stuck to the same plane now? Here this rotation is completely restricted. It won't rotate anymore because both hydrogens are involved in chelation to attain more stable form. Therefore, this lone pair would be completely involved in resonance. So in fact, now you see the hybridization of nitrogen almost goes to sp2. Correct? So the lone pair is so much involved in resonance with benzene that it is not available at all. Since lone pair is not available, it cannot act like a base, hence it is insoluble in aqueous acid. Is this clear, students? So the point here is lone pair is not available at all, right? And second important point is NO2 groups hold NH2 in same plane. That's the main reason being insoluble in aqueous acid. Make a note, everyone. No, beta. Because here SIR effect is about repulsion, right? Here on the contrary, it is an attraction. Correct? If there is any bulky group, they should actually repel, but on the contrary, they are attracting due to intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Now the cases which I'm taking are SIR affected. If we talk about, N Me twice, and here there is an NO2 group, here there is an NO2 group, right? Now this, if we discuss with NH2 with NO2 and NO2, right? And NO2 here. If you see the acidic basic character in these two, now you will observe that this is very, very strongly basic compared to that of A. I mean, compared to that of second one. We just learned that, right, when there are NO2 cases, instead of showing SIR, what is it showing? It is showing hydrogen bonding and making it least basic, right, beta? So its basicity has decreased so much that lone pair is not available and it has become neutral molecule. It is not even, the lone pair is not even available for donation. It is only, involved in resonance. But here what is happening in the first case, if you check out what is happening, benzene with nitrogen and these two methyl groups, which are bulkier groups. Here these hydrogens are not polarized, and NO2 is also a bulkier group, and this NO2 is also a bulkier group. So both will give repulsions with each other. Here also they will repel with each other. So due to these repulsions, this bond will rotate, which means nitrogen will rotate and try to become perpendicular to benzene. And once it becomes perpendicular to benzene, the lone pair will not be involved. So this lone pair will be localized now. Now you see these two benzenes are not on the same plane. One benzene will come above the plane. One methyl will come above the plane. One methyl will go inside the plane. Right. So due to steric repulsions, let me write that here. Due to steric inhibition of resonance, which is what we call it as SIR effect, correct? Lone pair is not available for resonance. Hence, lone pair will be localized. So if it is localized, it is more available for the incoming species. Hence, it will become more basic in nature. Guys, I hope you understood this point. See the next question here. On a similar lines, if we have NMe twice, but this time NO2 or any bulky groups are on this meta position with NO2 here, and that I'm comparing with NMe twice with CN here, methyl, methyl. Right now, which one is more basic here? First one is more basic, right? Yes, beta. Check out. NO2 here is showing only minus effect only. Yes. Why? Because due to SIR effect, now this NO2 won't be involved in resonance, because the pi bond of this nitrogen would be perpendicular to that of this pi bond. Okay. So this is also due to SIR effect. Due to SIR effect, NO2 is not involved in resonance. NO2 is not involved in resonance. So it is only showing its minus side. While when it comes to cyanide, CN is linear molecule. It is not going to get affected by any nearby bulky groups. So it will showcase both minus I and minus M effect. So it is more pulling tendency, more amount of pulling groups, less will be the basic character. Which cases? Let me show you that. Suppose if there is a lone pair here with ethyl and a double bond. Okay, this is somewhat supposed to be an amide group, and this in this amide group, you know, lone pair will be involved in resonance. So lone pair is involved in resonance, while the same type of group, but this time if it has a bridged nitrogen, lone pair is present here and double bond. So do you think this lone pair will be making a double bond form here? No. This time the lone pair is localized. So lone pair not in resonance with C double bond O, and hence available, right? So which is more basic in this case? The second one is more basic. So Brett's rule tells us that, right, but Brett's rule tells us that the lone pair present on the bridged atom will not be involved in any form of resonance. Got it? It will always be localized. That is what Brett's rule tells us. Make a note, everyone. Next, let us see aromaticity cases. Suppose if we take a lone pair which is a part of the aromatic ring, which means this lone pair is involved in aromaticity, right? It is not just supporting like aniline. It is a part of that aromatic ring itself. Okay. Now, if you compare that with pyridine, okay, and aniline, if you compare, sorry, aniline here, NH2, let me say this as A, B, C. Okay, student? Right, beta. Now, in this case, you can see lone pair is completely involved in resonance, and that is a part of the aromatic chain. So let me write down that lone pair electrons involved are part of aromaticity, right? So they are completely delocalized. So these are delocalized, while lone pair present on pyridine is always localized, right, beta? While here also they are delocalized, correct? So if you check out their respective pKa values, if you see the pKa values here, pKa values of pyrrole is around minus 3.5. This is a special case we'll be discussing again. I mean, it is so strongly acidic, which means it is so weakly basic, understood, that its conjugate base will be strongly acidic. Conjugate acid will be strongly acidic. And if you check out the pKa value of pyridine, this is around 5.2, correct? While if you take it for aniline here, this is around 4.5. All right, so you can see that when it comes to B is having more pK value. Remember, more the pK value, more will be the basic character. Less the pK value, less will be the basic character. Everybody got the point now? Now let us try to understand what exactly is the problem with this pyrrole, that it is showcasing such a low value of pKa. Okay. Now what would happen if you see the protonation, right? When it comes to the protonation here, nitrogen, this is how it is present. Now you can see this lone pair is hardly available for accepting H plus. Suppose if there is any incoming H plus coming, right? If there is any incoming H plus, then this lone pair is not available directly to accept H plus. In fact, that lone pair is completely involved in resonance, right? That lone pair will appear as minus charges on different locations. Yes, students, if you write all the canonicals, remember how the canonicals looks like for this. We have N with double bond, positive charge here, with negative charge here, double bond. And again, this would come here, negative charge will appear here. So which means I'll get different type of canonicals here with negative charge, right? Double bond, H and plus, like this, correct? Now, the negative charge which is appearing on the carbon is the one which will accept the proton. It is not the nitrogen which accept the proton, because nitrogen's lone pair availability is hardly observed. So therefore, now if you see the conjugate acid, this is how the conjugate acid looks like. Okay. So hydrogen with plus charge on nitrogen. So this is the conjugate acid. Clear, students? Now, which means this is a carbon connected hydrogen, right? Carbon connected hydrogen, and it is an sp3 hybridized carbon. Remember, sp3 hybridized carbon, all the hydrogens are very, very weak acidic. Their pK values will be around 40, right? So they are very low pK value. I mean, removal of this H plus would be very difficult in that case. Clear? Everybody understood the point? Now, suppose if at all I have to remove the H plus, can I remove from this H plus, or I can remove this H plus here? Because you can see this nitrogen is directly connected to hydrogen. This is highly protic now. So this hydrogen is highly protic. So this hydrogen can be removed easily. Is this point clear, everybody? So that's why it will act more acidic with respect to this nitrogen and hydrogen. Okay. So let me just write it as a pointers. Protonation, if forced on pyrrole, it takes place at alpha carbon, rather than on nitrogen. Lone pair of nitrogen is not available to be accepted, available to accept the proton, or just let me write it as incoming proton. Nitrogen H, carbon H cannot be removed, no, but this bond is very strong. This bond is weaker in aqueous solution because now nitrogen has positive charge, so it will try to gain back its electrons and removes protons very easily. Yes, beta. In case if you ask about, no, compare to a charged non-aromatic and uncharged non-aromatic, which is more stable? See the question. What did I say? Forced. See the statement. Usually it will not take H plus that easily. If you are forcing it to take H plus by means of pressure or something, then the proton will accept on here. Okay. Otherwise it won't, because it is highly stable. So I hope all of you understood the aromatic case. Yes, beta. How do we compare A and C? A and C aromatic delocalization always less favorable compared to regular delocalization. Suppose if you have lone pair present on this nitrogen, which is sp3 hybridized, while lone pair present on pyridine, which is sp2 hybridized, and lone pair present on lone pair present on nitrogen, which is sp hybridized. So this is sp3, sp2, and sp hybridized. Now tell me which one will be more basic here. Correct. So always remember percentage S character is more, it means it is less basic, or basic character is less. Clear? All of them are localized only. Here all of them are localized only. So resonance is not the factor which is to be compared. It is only the percentage S character. Got it? Same way, let me put another question here. If we have NH2, this is ethanamine. If we have double bond NH, imine, ethanimine, and then we have CH3, C triple bond N, right? So complete nitrile. So this is SP, SP2, and SP3. So this is how the basic character will be. Yes, beta. So this is basic strength. So the E factor is clear, everyone. So how to check out the percentage S character? 3-membered ring is more basic. More strain, more basic. More strain, more basic. Remember it that way. I was putting all of them in questions actually. Anyways, since you asked, check out. If there is a lone pair here, and if there is a lone pair here, this is what we are comparing. Now, what is happening? This lone pair is giving more repulsions now, beta. Because it is giving more repulsions, it is increasing the strain in this bond more. Now, if it becomes a regular bonded electron, now this is a bonded electron, this is a lone pair, which one will give more repulsions? Lone pair will give more repulsions. Clear? So from more repulsions, it is coming to the less repulsion state. So this is more favorable, which means this is more basic. Is that point clear? I kept all of these kinds in questions. You have to try them first. Next, plus or minus effect. Suppose if there is any plus effect, plus n or minus effect, then suppose if there is a lone pair here, which is tertiary, which is the secondary amine, but cyclic one, and if I consider the same with an oxygen present on it, like this, and you know that oxygen will give minus I effect, while these methyls are going to give plus I effect. So which is more basic? The first one will be more basic. Right, guys? I hope you guys understood that. Similar case here also. Suppose if you have N, right? And this is how it is connected with a lone pair here, and same compound, but backside, you know, if you see backside here, there is also N, right? Now here, one nitrogen will give as minus I to the other nitrogen, because this nitrogen is a pulling group. So this will give minus I effect towards the available lone pair of the next nitrogen. So between these two, if we consider, which will be more basic, beta? First one will be more basic strength. Make a note of these two examples. These are very frequently asked JEE questions. Both A and B has been asked many a times. Please make a note of it. Whether it will increase or decrease is what we will learn now. Suppose if we
I am making.
take In case if we have aniline, right, only aniline with NO2 group here, NO2 group here, and I have to compare these two. So NO2 group is giving both minus M minus I, right beta? So therefore, which is more basic? The first one will be more basic. Same way, if we check out NH2 and compare that NH2 with OH group present on it, right? And I'm checking the basic character. So OH is a donating species with plus M. At plus M is more dominant than its minus I. So which one will be more basic? The second will be more basic than the first one. Here we are considering basic character beta. It is like some species is coming, some electrophilic species is coming, E plus is coming. Then which one will give lone pair easily? Obviously between oxygen and nitrogen, nitrogen will give. And now you are comparing these two nitrogens. Okay. So flipping effect as in, if you check out ethyl, suppose we have nitrogen, ethyl and ethyl. So I'm taking it as a tertiary amine. In tertiary amine, the lone pair present on nitrogen will keep flipping above and below. It will make an umbrella inversion above and below. Okay. This I have told you before also. See, nitrogen is supposed to be pyramidal shape like this. This is how pyramidal shape it has to be, correct? Now suppose if this pyramidal shape molecule here, got it, as coming close with the another pyramidal shape like this. Imagine both these molecules are coming close to each other. Got it? As they come, due to the repulsions of the lone pairs, now both of these nitrogens will start getting into a new transition state. And this transition state is where we have lone pair been observed, lone pair been observed in an hybridized orbital with sp hybridized orbital like this. Now you can see. So from being sp3, they will convert into this transition state like this momentarily. Got it? Momentarily they will turn into this way. Clear? And again get back to this state. Okay? And from here again they will get back to this state. Clear all of you? So from these two states they will change into this, and after the repulsion has been done, now they will move back and turn back into their respective sites this way. Clear? So what is happening here? So from this lobe it is converting into an sp2 character, sp2, right? And again they're getting back to this sp3 character. This is called umbrella inversion or flipping. Generally flipping is seen with the nitrogen, right, which does not have any restricted bond. Here these bonds are not restricted, correct? So it can easily flip in this orbital above and below. So due to flipping, the availability of lone pair reduces. Got it? But if you compare the same thing with any nitrogen which cannot flip due to a restricted bond, like in this case, if you observe, this nitrogen's lone pair is something where it is in a restricted bond, as it is a part of a ring. So this ring cannot become planar. So since it cannot become planar, this won't show any flipping effect at all. So tell me which is more basic in this case? Second one will be more basic, right? So this will be the basic strength, more available here. Understood? So let me write down the reason here. Okay. So flipping will reduce the availability of lone pair. Availability of lone pair. Okay, students, Because of that, the second one will be more basic. Tertiary butyl with cyclic case beta. Okay. In that case, crowding. Okay. Suppose if you have any tertiary butyl, ethyl, and some group like this, let's say, and that you are comparing with this will still be more basic than this one. And reason is not flipping, it is the steric factor. Tertiary butyl is too bulky enough, so it won't let the incoming electrophile to come. Understood? So when this incoming electrophile is coming, so this tertiary group will repel it. So that's how its basicity will reduce. Yes, beta. Phenyl can show flipping. Let me write that here. Bridgehead cannot show flipping. Bridgehead atoms cannot show flipping. This is also a part of Brett's rule. So anything pertaining to bridgeheads, that is always called the Brett's rule. Okay. D orbital resonance. Next one is, please write down everyone, D orbital resonance. Now if you see CH3 thrice N lone pair with SiH3 thrice N lone pair, right? You may have done this in inorganic also, that if you see this is a pyramidal shape, you know, if you check out the shape wise, here this is pyramidal while this is planar. This is because the lone pair present on nitrogen will be involved in resonance with the silicon. So it is like this. Silicon has an empty d orbital. This is the empty d orbital, which is connected with nitrogen, whose electrons are present this way. Got it? Let me pull a little bit closer. Yeah. Got it? SiH3 and SiH3. And this will involve in pi bond resonance here with silicon. Clear? So which is more basic beta here between these two? First one is more basic. Yes. So that will be more basic because it is more available. Now see the next one. This is about the effect of solvent. How solvent will affect the basic character. We'll always consider the aqueous phase in this, right? So first one, if we check out CH3 NH2, CH3 NH CH3, got it? And CH3 NH, sorry, N CH3 and CH3. So primary, secondary and tertiary, if at all I compare. Now what is happening here? You can see every CH3 will try to donate electrons, which means they are showing plus I effect. So their plus I effect will be operated this way, that electrons are being pushed towards NH2 group. Here in CH3 NH we have electrons also being pushed towards NH. In third case CH3N CH3, here also electrons being pushed towards nitrogen. So there is a more push in the tertiary case. So we can say basicity should increase, right, due to plus I effect. So basic strength increases due to plus I effect. Due to plus I effect. But imagine all of these ions, if they are, all of these amines in aqueous solution. In aqueous solution, they will be reacted with water and they will accept the H plus from water, right? So how would they be now? Now you will have N with one methyl group here, right? Two hydrogens, correct? And one H plus, because it is being basic, it gets protonated. And this ion will have hydrogen bonding with water. This is how we'll see hydrogen bonding will be existing, right? Now the same thing, same kind of an hydrogen bonding will be seen for secondary also. In secondary, the hydrogen bonding happens at two cases here, because we have methyl here, got it? Methyl here, and sorry, in primary case, if you check it out, it will happen at three cases here, because this hydrogen is also polarized. So here also we can have OH2 with hydrogen bonding. Here also we have OH2 with hydrogen bonding. But in the case of methyl, in the case of secondary amines here, the hydrogen bonding will happen only at two locations. Now, if it is about tertiary group, then hydrogen bonding will not happen at all these three locations. It will only happen at one location. Me this way. Now check which is more stable out of these three. More amount of hydrogen bonding, more is the stability. Remember, you may have learned this as solvation. More the solvation, more is the stability. Correct? So if you consider the stability now, what is happening? Stability is more towards this side. Okay, this is stabilization due to solvation. So this is how the stability is. So if the stability is more, pK value is less. If stability is less, pK value is more. Right, beta? Here, sorry. If stability is more, pK value is more. If stability is less, pK value is less. So if you consider the pKa values here now, pK values will be on this side. Got it? And we learned that more the amount of pK value, right? More the amount of pK value, more will be its basic character. 1 minute. So the pK value here shows this side it is more, which means these two are, going in the opposite way. According to only inductive effect, it is telling us that tertiary is more basic. But according to the solvation, we are learning that the primary is more basic. So somewhere it has to be a compromise of both the effects in aqueous solution. So we cannot just rely on one particular effect. Both the effects has to be considered. So now combining effect, okay, the combining effect of both inductive and solvation will give 2 degree more basic than 1 degree more basic than tertiary. Okay, students. Okay, and if you see, this is more basic than ammonia. Okay, everyone. So which means if you check out CH3 twice NH, this is more basic than CH3 NH2. It is more basic than CH3 thrice N, which is more basic than ammonia. And this is valid for methyl only. Got it? For methyl only. Suppose if it is for ethyl, which means we have ET twice, ethyl twice NH, correct? Then it is tertiary. Here combining effect, the combining effect will make it that ethyl, tertiary ethyl is more basic compared to that of primary, which is EtNH2, which is more basic than ammonia. This is for ethyl. So it can be only learned experimentally. In JEE syllabus, in NCERT, only these two are to be learned. Remember, only methyl and ethyl are there for your syllabus. So in aqueous solutions, you must learn that this is the order of primary amines. This is the order for methyl amines. This is the order for ethyl amines. Okay, everybody. Right. But if you were asked in a gaseous phase or any non-polar solvent where there is no solvation coming into effect, no solvation, then you don't have to worry. You will only use inductive effect. Okay, students. So suppose compare, question is given, compare basic strength, compare basic strength in gaseous or non-polar solvents. Then you will only apply inductive effect. For example, first case, if at all I have ethyl butane here and two of them, 1 2 3 4 right here, and three of them like this, have NH, third one will be more basic. Is this point clear, everybody? It has to be very clear. Acha, if nothing is mentioned, like gaseous, non-polar, nothing is mentioned, you'll always take it as an aqueous case. Okay? And in aqueous case, only these two are some things which you have to learn.